What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our Let's Play here on the Bedrock edition. And I've actually recovered from our last episode where I actually had to have a day off of Minecraft. That was just that ragey for me. And I've not actually got round to replacing my armor, but as you can see by my level, I am now at level 123. I did set up a regen and resistance beacon over our pentaspawner, just left my guy AFK overnight and managed to get up to 123 levels. So instead of replacing all of our armor, I'll probably do that at some point in the future. Considering it didn't really do us too well, I'm not in too much of a hurry to replace that set. But what I am wanting to do is get a load of books enchanted, because I don't want to die and end up losing 123 levels. That would be probably more annoying than losing that whole kit of the Wither armor. But I do actually want to get the new Wither sword remade, because one-shotting Wither skellies with that thing could be an absolute godsend for when we want to go skull hunting. But I've completely run out of, well, not completely run out of, but I'm extremely running low on leather, so I've been breeding up our cows over here. And rather than using the lava system that we've got, like we've got a button somewhere just up there to activate it to kill them with lava, but I want the leather, so I'm just going to just spam them with my sword because it's got loot and free. There should be a fair few of them here, to be honest with you. I was breeding them up for a good 15-20 minutes, so hopefully, let's see, we've got 27 in there at the moment. This is why we need sweeping edge in the game, for situations like this, because it would take 2 swipes with a sweeping edge sword and they'd all be dead. So yeah, let me just, come on, come forward. There we go. Okay, so that's the last of them. Put that back up there. Keep this. I think we're actually going to have to make room for the raw meat as well. Yeah. So if we just make a few spots of room in there for that. It's probably the raw meat that was blocking the leather from actually coming into the system. So I'm going to let that do that for a second. The plan for today, other than me wasting time doing this, is I actually want to progress and get like major other farms done in order to do villager trading for the books specifically that we need, rather than doing the random enchants for books. And in order to do that, the designs that I've sort of come up with in my test world, a lot of them require sticky pistons and slime blocks. And at the moment, our slime situation is we've got 43 slime balls, 1 slime block there, and I'm not too sure how much slime we've got left in these guys. I don't think it's an awful lot though. We've got 57 slime blocks, 9 sticky pistons. Yeah, so we have not got that much. Although 57 slime blocks can go a long way in making sticky pistons, the sort of designs I'm using, you'll have like 12 slime blocks lined up in a row being pushed by 1 sticky piston. And that would just be 1 section of like a 20 section farm. So I need slimes like on a large supply. I also need gunpowder. Gunpowder, that is the last of my gunpowder. I think I've only got 3 more stacks of rockets left. So yeah, gunpowder and slime balls are a definite must have. And I was thinking about attempting to do a witch farm, but I've sort of played around with the idea of that in a test world, and the spawning mechanics of witches spawning in witch huts, it's not worth it. I cleared out the entire world. I made it a void world. That's not too bad on the lever actually. Get a fair few books. I cleared out like everything around the witch hut by using commands in a test world, so then it was just void in the entire ticking area, with only the spawnable spaces for witches that witches could only spawn in, and even then a witch would only spawn once every about 90 seconds to 120, so every minute and a half to 2 minutes one would spawn, and that was in 2 witch huts next to each other. So going that route to get gunpowder is, I've gone the complete wrong way, is definitely not the way to go. So what I'm going to attempt to do is create an entire passive and hostile mob farm, hopefully, using an entire ticking area around the player. And I've managed to find a section, how many stacks is that? It's 3, 6, 9, we grab 2 more for our paper. Yeah, so what I've managed to find 5 slime chunks in a line. So then what I'm going to be doing is digging out them 5 slime chunks for our slime farm. And then all the way around that, I'm going to be sort of creating a passive and surface spawn at night time hostile mob farm, if that makes sense. And I've checked out the area already. What am I doing? I'm making paper, aren't I? So I've checked out the area already, and it looks fairly reasonable to be able to do it in. So I made way too much paper, didn't I? For the amount of leather that I had. You know what? The paper can go back into here. One now. Awesome. Have we got diamonds in our chest? Yeah, we have. Got enough to mess around with some swords. So yeah, the idea is that I'm going to be going over there, sort of clearing out an area. I'll probably get it marked up and sort of laid out in this episode. There's no way that this project is going to be completed in this episode. It's one of them projects that is just way too big. It's going to be 2 or 3 episodes at least to get it all done. But yeah, that is my plan anyway. Hopefully, fingers crossed it all comes out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on a little bit of a enchanting spree on these books. Yeah, it's very quick to get from my base to the Penta spawner using the horse. I still need to decorate my nether as well. It's starting to bug me. Okay, I still need to decorate this area. Everywhere needs decorating. Everywhere needs cosmetic work. Oh, it's not good. If we come down here. Yeah, I'm going to crack out on these... What is that doing there? Okay, I don't know what that was for. I think that was tied into the original switch over thing for this. And I just didn't bulldoze it. Okay, let's get the XP. Thank you. Can we turn you off? Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm just going to crack on and get these enchants done. I'll hopefully get a decent sword made, and I'll bring you back once I've got all the enchanting done. Right then guys, I've been over here. As you can see, I'm now level 19, and I've torn through all of our levels, enchanting a bunch of books. These are the books that are going to be thrown into the system, so we've got a fair few decent ones. So we've got like Unbreaking 3, Feather Falling 4s, Fire Protections, Blast Protections, Riptides, another Unbreaking, a fair few decent ones, and then we've got some books left over. This is a sword that come up with Unbreaking, so I enchanted it and it only had Unbreaking on. I then had a sword come up with Smite 4, which was this one. And then I changed it into Smite 5, put Unbreaking on it, and then I realised that I didn't actually have any looting books. So I had to wait until an enchant for looting came up. So then I put Looting, Mending, Smite 5, Fire Aspect 2, and Unbreaking 3 on Blade of the Woe MK2. So that is our new Wither hunting sword. Well, not Wither, but Wither Skelly hunting sword. I don't want to go losing that trying to fight a Wither with it. I'll probably use this one if I want to try take on another Wither anytime soon. But yeah, so not too bad. All of these books in here still need to be combined with one another because they've dropped that really low and sort of rubbish enchants. Like Efficiency 4, I'd never throw on a pickaxe. So I'll combine that with another Efficiency 4 to make Efficiency 5. But all of this areas is now sort of done and dusted with for today. I've just been repairing my tools while I've been here as well. So all of our tools are freshly repaired. I've actually replaced my bow and arrow for the Impaling and Loyalty Trident, rather than carrying around an extra bow and arrows, because that was taking up another 2 inventory slots of mine. This one is just purely so I can use that if it's raining instead of using rockets, which comes in handy considering we're running so low on gunpowder. But before I forget, I actually need to grab my ender chest back, don't I? Yeah, I want to go heading off without that. Make sure I've got the right pickaxe. Thank you very much. I'm going to head off over to the area where the 5 slime where the 5 slime chunks are, and then I'm going to get the grid of the actual chunks laid out with probably the wood that's over there that I'm going to have to cut down to clear a little area anyway for base camp. But once I've laid out the grid, I'll bring you back and I'll explain to you exactly what my plan is for the area. So yeah, I guess I'll see you back shortly. Alright guys, it's actually about a day or two later now since my last bit of recording, and I've just been absolutely swamped by about 3 phantoms, and they are battering me, so I'm hoping it gets to daytime soon. I've just been doing some work over here, which I'm hoping to show you in a second, should I survive. I've got a bed up there which I really should have slept in, but I just haven't. But yeah, let me see if I can't get rid of some of these vault. He's swooped down. Where's my other one? Come on. Okay, now they're burning. Do they drop anything yet? I know that I've killed a few of them and got some of the membranes or potions I actually want to brew up at some point, but I'm still not sure if they drop anything when they just burn. Because zombies sometimes drop stuff when they just burn up, but by the looks of it, these guys don't. But yeah, I've been at this. This took me roughly about 5, maybe 6 hours worth to get this all sort of laid up, and this is sort of our base camp for the new area. Now, this is the farm type design that I was talking about regarding the 5 slime chunks, and in order to get hostile and passive mobs. So we've got an entire grid laid out. So I actually done a whole map section just so it's easier for me to explain to you guys. So if we get a close up on this, now we've got our 5 chunks in the middle here. We've got netherrack covering the 2 ends ones, and we've got netherrack on our main center one, which is this platform just here. These 5 chunks in the middle are all slime chunks. So this is going to be the area that we're actually going to have to dig out to bedrock. I've actually dug out a few layers just to sort of lay it out so I know which area that I'm digging out in. I've also got a beacon of haste 2 over here to help speed up the process. And then I've actually gridded out the rest of our simulation distance, so where mobs can actually spawn up to, so I know the sort of boundaries that we're going to be working with. And the plan is to actually have mobs being funneled from the entire area around us. So all of these chunks around us will be loaded while we're in this center chunk, which is going to be our sort of AFK chunk. So all of this area around here, going all the way around, is going to be loaded and being able to spawn hostile mobs. And we're mainly going to be concentrating on trying to gather the surface spawns. Now, because this 3 chunks over here is far enough away from where we're going to be standing, so these 3 chunks, so the 3 chunks at the bottom and the 3 chunks are on the right. So as soon as mobs get transported from these 3 chunks heading over towards the center where we are, then these 3 chunks and all the other 3 chunks around us are then going to be able to still spawn surface mobs. So we're going to have like an 8 mob cap surface spawn limit for over here, the same for over here, the same for over here, and the same for down there. So in theory, we should be able to get 32 hostile mobs spawning at any one point around us, and then eventually they'll all start getting funneled down to the center, where they'll end up getting killed and sort of collected. Now, I'm actually going to have to probably expand the area around the 5 slime chunks by about 3, because just around the actual slime chunks itself, we're going to have platforms for the slimes to spawn on. They're just going to do their little hopping thing, hop off, and we're going to have like a ring of magma blocks, which will then be killing the mobs, and we're also going to be having all the other hostile mobs during the night being funneled down to the center, dying on the same magma blocks. Now, it's easier if I just give you a quick demonstration of how I'm planning on doing this. Let me just hop down here. I think it'll be easier for me to show you down here. Got a little bit more working room down here to show you. So what's going to happen is that all this area underneath our grid work, I'm actually going to have to level out and make all on the same level just to make it easier on myself to work with. Now, as you can see, we've got hills and bumps and lumps all over this place, so I'm going to have to take down all of the trees, level it all out before I can actually get started on the farm itself. But then what I'm going to do is be having 2 wide strips, so we're going to be having strips like this, and then we're going to have like a 2 wide gap and then another strip of 2, and we're going to be using grass, so that way during the daytime we can get the passive mob spawns. I can hear a spider. I don't know where it is. Yeah, so during the day we'll get the passive mob spawns, and then what we're going to have is like trapdoors on either side of these 2 wide strips, just like so. So that way there's more than enough room for the mobs to sort of pathfind. They'll think that these are full blocks. They will then fall down, which we're going to be having water streams, then funneling everything towards the centre. And that should all be happy days. Now, there's a couple of issues that I know I'm going to run into. One is that we definitely don't want spiders spawning in here, because they're not going to fall and stay in the water streams. They'll just climb up and get stuck to the walls. In order to battle this, what we're going to have to do is do sort of like a carpet pattern. So it'll be like 1, 2, then the carpet, 1, 2, then the carpet. We're going to have to do this all down the strips. Now, each time we place a carpet on a block, obviously this block isn't then going to be spawnable for any mobs, hostile or passive. But the way it blocks spider spawns, a spider can spawn anywhere in an open 3x3 area with at least 1 solid block that they have to spawn on. So if it was just say over here, although this isn't a 3x3, if it can spawn on this solid block, if it tries to spawn there, it will see 1, 2, and then this block here is an airspace, this one's an airspace, this one's an airspace, 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 airspace. Now all it needs is 1 solid block to spawn on, and the rest of them around it needs to be just airspaces, so it doesn't block the spawn. I can definitely get there is a spider. I knew that there was. And I missed. Come back. Thank you. Yeah, so the carpet's done in this fashion, just 2 wide gap in between and sort of zigzag them should block the spider spawns. Now the second issue that I was going to be running into, which I've done a little bit of testing with, is obviously with grass we're going to have the issue of Enderman being able to pick it up. And when they pick it up and carry it away, I'm then going to have to run around replacing it, which means the only solution I can think of fixing that issue is by having a complete layer of glass covering the entire farm. And that is going to be a lot of glass, unfortunately for me, which means there's going to be a lot of gathering and a lot of smelting. Smelting isn't too much of an issue with our super smelter, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of glass, and we're just going to have to leave the actual whole farm at a too high sort of gap. So I don't know why this is like Enderman already picking up dirt and just placing it, because I leveled this area out. Chicken, you're going to die. Cool. So yeah, so what I've done is I've sort of just, let me get more of an aerial view so I can show you. This took me ridiculously long. Everything is chunk aligned around the slime chunks. I had to double check and then triple check all of the measurements. So if we get a map in our hand, as you can see, all of the chunks themselves are aligned to the border of the map. And then I've made sure that the same was over there. I measured out each chunk. I've done the numbers about 5 or 6 times just to make sure that everything was measured out correctly. And although I am going to have to tear this entire wooden structure down, if you're planning on doing a project on this sort of scale, it's better to get the measurements right first time. I've got a random chest down there from where my nether portal initially spawned in, and all of this wood is just wood that I've gathered from the area by chopping down the trees. So I'm going to have to chop down all of these trees, which is a serious nuisance. Like my axe I've had to repair twice already chopping down trees, and I've also got to dig all of this area down to bedrock. But we've got a haze 2 beacon up, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Although the beacon beams seems to disappear and come back. I think that's because I've got my particle render distance turned all the way down. I turn it down in the hopes of getting rid of these stupid swells that are around us, but it doesn't seem to get rid of them. I really wish they put in an option to actually get rid of them, because it's driving me insane. But yeah, this is like the progress that I've made. This is obviously going to be a project in the work for at least the next 4 or 5 episodes. I know that I say that with quite a few of my projects, and then I usually end up just sort of like bulldozing through it and getting them done in like 1, maybe 2 episodes. Like I did with the iron farm. I said that was probably going to take a few episodes, but I ended up putting in a good 20 to 30 hours on that straight off the bat and sort of just got it all done and dusted out of the way with. This one is a much, much bigger project, like just digging out 5 chunks all the way down to bedrock. I think this is at like level 64. So digging this out is going to take a very long time just in itself, because you've got 16 by 16 times 5, which is maths I can't do straight off my head, but I know that's a lot, and it's going to be 64 layers, or say about 61 layers, because you've got about 4 layers of bedrock before you actually have to stop digging, or before you can't dig anymore. So that's going to take a very long while. I've already got our sort of chest ready for all of our items to be thrown into. I've already started labelling them up, so it's easier to transport them and sort them out. Have I got other random blocks on me? That would be this chest. But yeah, I thought I'd just sort of make a crack on this today, sort of just get you up to date with where my head is with this project, because it's going to be a big one, and let's get more of an aerial view so you can sort of see the scale and size. So as you can see, it's going to be a massive area that I'm going to have to flatten out. Luckily, the area itself, I didn't know anything about this area until I came here through the nether portals. All that I done, I went on to junk? It's not junk. It's called chunkbase.com, I think it is. And then you put in your map seed, and then you find the slime chunks. This is the only area that I could find 5 slime chunks in a row. And luckily enough, when I showed up here, it was relatively, I think this is just a standard plains biome. So there's no massive oceans, no ridiculous hills, like you've got an extreme hills biome just over there. Let me sleep this night away, otherwise we're going to get phantoms spawning again. I haven't slept for ages. Yeah, luckily it was just like a plains biome, and it could have been a lot worse. We could have ended up in a swamp, we could have ended up in completely extreme hills biome, we could have ended up, a desert wouldn't have been too bad, but it would have meant that I would have had to gather all of the grass from other areas to place there in order to get passive mobs, and I'm not even 100% sure even if you place grass in deserts that you can get sheep or cows spawning. But yeah, this is definitely going to be one of my larger scale projects, and this is the only way that I can sort of figure out on getting a decent and steady supply of gunpowder. And hopefully this should solve our slime ball needs as well, because we've got our 5 slime chunks in a row. There is 2 other slime chunks, I think they're just them 2 chunks just over there, and we're not really going to worry about them, because I think with the amount of spawning pads that we're going to have and the size of them, the likelihood that they're going to be spawning over in them 2 chunks is highly unlikely compared to them spawning in these 5 chunks. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway, because with the hostile mobs we're sort of relying on the surface spawn caps, and that shouldn't be too much of an issue. I've also sort of figured out a trap for phantoms using nether portals, which I'm sort of excited to sort of put into concept and make work. There's also one other thing before we end today's episode. I know that it's been a very talky episode and me just explaining what it is I want to do and the sort of plans of things. And I hope you liked the little explanation that I've got. It was very easier, a lot more easier for me to explain with the map, and these 2 maps over here are just completely unnecessary. It's not even part of it, but for my OCD purposes I had to have it sort of evenly spaced, and yeah, that's just the way it worked out. But I wanted to do our achievement for the day, and I think I found a pretty easy one. So let me grab, have we got any, well, we've got a lot of wood here. Let's grab some of you, let's grab a chest. And then I do believe there is one for transporting, let me get some more of you. I think it's like transport an item from a chest, well, from a minecart chest into a chest using a hopper. So we've got a minecart here, we just need some track, and we've got tons of it here. So if we then go and put you on there and make a chest minecart, put you, oh no, not you, you on a hotbar, do that, or you can open you, put you in, and then that should hopefully be that one done. That's transporting an item from a minecart chest through a hopper into a chest. So fingers crossed that will come up in a moment. But yeah, there we go. Other than that, hopefully you have enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully it's not been too talky for you, and hopefully you're excited to see where this big project goes. Now, with the sort of scale of it and the sort of work that needs to be put into it, I'm more than likely just going to do updates on the farm until it's in a state that I'm able to sort of do a time lapse of doing like the columns leading to the center and whatnot. And yeah, because other than that, I don't think it's going to make very interesting watching material or YouTube material or content, whichever way you want to word it. I don't think it will be very interesting to watch me just chopping down trees and leveling out the terrain. But once I've got all of that done, and once I've dug out these 5 time chunks, we'll probably be revisiting this area in about maybe 2, maybe 3 episodes, because this is going to be something I'll work on in between, getting all of the sort of grindy work of it done. And that's usually stuff that I get done while I'm watching programs on my other screen and so on. So it's alright for me. So I find it quite relaxing doing that sort of thing, but it makes for very, very boring YouTube content. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Bye bye.